Welcome to the Brute Neighbors podcast, everybody. I am your pal, Seth,
Now your other pal, Phillip. Hello, hi.
and we are here to bring you another wacky, wonderful podcast of fun stuff.
What are we talking
Uh,
about today, Seth?
well, we're talking about roller coasters.
Woo!
We are not talking about Gone with the Wind
Why would you bring
because
that up? We never mentioned that, ever. It's not
I
like we
don't
teased that for the
remember
last
us
episode.
ever discussing that.
Yeah, no, we're not talking
Uh,
about that.
and instead we're going to talk about The Martian.
Yeah, well, that was the plan from the
That
beginning.
we actually explicitly
We
said The
said
Martian last week.
Yeah, why did you bring up Gone with the Wind? That's so weird. That was never
What
mentioned.
did I bring up?
The Martian. Yeah, that's what we're talking about this week.
Okay, yeah, okay. And then some mystery surprise third thing that Philip has definitely come up with.
I definitely have it. I'm
already.
definitely not going to scramble at the end of the episode to find something. I definitely have it planned 100%.
Exactly. All right.
I'm
So
prepared.
let's just hop right in it.
Hop right into the roller coaster. Buckle up.
The roller coaster of this podcast.
It is a roller coaster. If roller coasters exploded.
Just like this podcast.
That was the joke. That's the joke. That's it, everybody. Good night. I hope you enjoyed the podcast.
Night, guys.
Yeah, the roller coasters. So, Seth,
okay. So,
what are your experiences with theme parks? I've been to a few, not as many as I would like, but I've been to a few.
I have been to a good number of roller coasters. I'm certain I've probably been to more than you.
Probably.
But I am not a like big roller coaster kind of guy. Like, I like roller coasters. I do. But I like my roller coasters vanilla. I like them tame.
You're lame.
I don't like them to go upside down.
You're a lame-o.
I know.
Okay, so what theme parks have you been to?
Okay, I've been to Disney World a bunch of times. Universal. I lived just like 2 hours away from Hershey Park, and we'd go all the time. I've been to Cedar Point in Ohio.
Ooh, I've always wanted to go there.
I'm certain I've been to I've been to Six Flags Great Adventure and Six Flags in Atlanta.
Okay, so I've been to Disney World. I lived there for 8 months, so I've spent a lot of time there. I've been to Disneyland, but I haven't been since I was a little kid. I've been to Six Flags Atlanta. I've been to SeaWorld, which has 2 coasters, which actually aren't terrible. They're the 2 things there that aren't terrible.
Is that the SeaWorld in conjunction with Busch Gardens, or are they 2 different things?
They're 2 separate things. Maybe they have like a deal situated between them, but like Busch Gardens is like down in like Tampa or something, and SeaWorld is right next to like Disney World and Universal. I've been to Universal also. So we're honestly pretty on par for the most part. Like, you've been to Cedar Point, which is a pretty big one that I've always wanted to go to.
I was not expecting it to be as legit as it is.
I've heard it has like legit good coasters.
Yeah,
I'm sad I've never gotten to go.
It's right on. I think it's not Lake Michigan, Lake Erie. It's right on Lake Erie, and so like you go out a gate and you are right on the beach on the lake, and so that's really neat that it's like coupled with sort of the beach.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we'll ease our way into it. What would you say, based on roller coasters only? Like, which park has your favorites? So which of the parks that you've been to would you say is your favorite based on roller coasters, on their selection of roller coasters? Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, you also need to understand, I'm not a huge coaster person. I will say, on a recent trip to Six Flags Atlanta, I tried a lot more things that were outside my comfort zone, and I really enjoyed a lot of the rides I went on there. But most of the roller coasters that I can say that I genuinely enjoy are in Disney World.
Interesting. I will say my favorite coaster ever is in Disney World, but overall, honestly, I think I gotta say Universal. Honestly,
Okay.
I do love Six Flags coasters, but A, I haven't been since high
Well,
school, and B, I feel like Six Flags' selection is a little more all over the place. Like pretty much all of Universal's coasters are good,
yeah.
but like Six Flags, like I don't like the Superman. It scares me.
Really?
It
Oh,
scares. That's
okay.
the one.
That
That's the
that was
one
one
that
of the few that I enjoyed there.
Oh, really? See, I'm the
Yeah.
so the only thing that spooks me about coasters, like I'm fine flipping upside down. I'm fine with wooden
Yeah.
coasters giving me a fucking concussion. I'm fine with all that.
Yeah.
But what gets me, the only kind of coaster that gets me is stuff like the Superman, where you're like laying on your stomach,
Yeah.
and like
Okay.
because like I have this paranoia that like if the thing gives out, like if the harness gives out on any coaster, you're probably gonna die. But at
Yeah.
least I have the illusion on regular coasters where you're sitting down and there's a harness over you that even if the harness comes up, you can theoretically maybe hang on to like the sides or hang on to your harness, and the force and momentum might keep you in your seat. It's
Hmm.
unlikely, but theoretically that makes sense in my head that like maybe I wouldn't die. But with
Yeah.
something like the Superman, you can't hang on to anything else. It's just you being supported by this thing. And if that goes out, you fall and you die. There's no momentum just sends you flying to the moon like Superman. But then you die
Yeah.
because you're not Superman.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I can't get over. Oh, I forget what it's called, but there was one I rode in Six Flags Atlanta where it was like your regular sort of roller coaster setup where you're in a car and it's only got like the bar going down to keep you in, but you go upside down. And I was extremely scandalized by that.
Wait, so it's just the bar over you, you're seated, and you go up. So that's most coasters, though, isn't it?
Well, but
Unless I'm not visualizing what you're describing.
like for most other coasters that I've been on that have gone upside down, there's usually like a full body sort
Oh
of
wait,
thing to
so
keep
it was
you
just a wait. You know what?
just
That's
like a bar.
that's not supposed to be legal, actually.
I yeah.
Because like,
Um
now I'm pretty sure if it goes upside down, you like they legally have to have the shoulder harness. I thought.
Apparently not. Um
Ooh, yeah, no, that
so
one that's a little sketchy.
yeah. But it's and it's that kind of upside down that freaks me out because I know that like anything that's designed for that sort of thing is going to it's going to keep you in.
Mhm.
Like you are not going to die going upside down. But I cannot get over the idea of like, oh, something bad's gonna happen. I'm gonna just slip right out and I'm gonna fall to my death.
See, that's how I
Um,
am with I'm going a little off topic, but with you, I don't know what they're actually called, but I always call them space shot rides because that's what the one I always did as a kid because of the Space and Rocket Center. The ones that go
oh,
straight up and down, like kind of like Tower
God,
of
no.
Terror, but Tower of Terror
Okay.
is like themed Disney and shit, so like I can ignore it.
Yeah.
But like the ones that are just like it's just a tower, you're outside and like you just go up and down.
Well,
I can't do those anymore.
are you describing like the slingshots or
Yeah, I think that's what they're called. Like yeah, it's like literally
okay.
it's like a tower. It's like there's like a bench seat on like each side, and then you guys just kind of you fill in into the bench seats basically. And usually
I
it's just like a seat belt or something, and you go up in the air, you go back down, you go up, you go down, you
okay.
go up, you
No,
go down.
we're talking about two different things. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I
Those scare me
I don't
for the
really
same
do that
reason
sort
as
of
the
thing either.
Superman. Same reason as
But
the Superman basically is because like if that harness breaks, you're just gonna fly off. There's
mhm,
nothing. There's no backup science to help you, even
yeah.
like theoretically.
Now, you know what absolutely terrifies me, and I know this is going off roller coasters to a different sort of realm of ride
Yeah,
entirely.
we're
But
branching off a little bit. It seems like.
those slingshot rides where it's sort of like you have a V, and then in that V you have like two super strong bungee
Oh,
cords
I've never
that
actually done that.
connect. I mean, neither have I because of this. and then just like shoot you up into the air, and I'm just like, how? Why? It's
I could probably be convinced to do one of those once, but I would be terrified for the same reasons that I'm afraid of Superman in space shots.
yeah.
Is that there's nothing there, and that's why I feel like I could jump out of an airplane, but
Hmm.
god damn, I would be so terrified. I'd be like, I'm going to die now. Like
I would just
it's something I want to do
I
once in my life, but I'd be so terrified.
I do not have enough faith in my luck to not be that one in a million person whose cord doesn't rip right out and
Mm.
not have a parachute.
Oh yeah, and that's why I'll probably never actually go skydiving. It's just something I want to do once in my life because
I
I'm
I would
terrified of heights.
well I yeah I am very similar. I don't like heights at all, but I would like the experience of going parachuting or skydiving. I do not think that I could make myself get over, like, if this does not work, I die.
Yeah, see, and that's why I mean, you have to do tandem skydiving with another person before you can do it by your own. So that would already comfort me, and just the
Yeah,
fact that there's someone else there with me.
that's true.
Um, and they basically have all the control, and especially if it's the kind where you're basically just strapped to someone's back, and they basically have to do the jump, and it's I have no say at that point. So as long as I can convince myself to get on the plane, I'm doing it. So I just have to
Yeah.
get that far because it's the
Hmm.
jumping out into nothingness
Well,
that I think would be the mental block for me.
I mean, even jumping into, like, once a year, with a youth group, we would have a lake day, and so we'd go out to the lake, and there would be this sort of dock that was like 20 feet up above the lake, and
Mhm.
you jump off into the water. And I mean, everything was fine. Like, that's a safe height to jump from. You'd land in, it'd be super fun, make a big splash. But I no matter how many times I walked off that uh pier, like, I would be filled with dread, and just like, I just instinctually want to scream, even on my, like, 10th time doing it.
See, I've actually never A, I've never been able to cliff jump or anything like that, and B,
Yeah,
I've never actually dived off a diving board. I've just never been
really.
able to do it. I'm not the best swimmer to begin with,
Well, oh,
uh, so that's not helpful.
I mean, you mean like a high diving board,
Any
or
diving
do you
board.
any dive? Okay,
I
gotcha.
have not dived off a diving board, period.
Hmm, okay.
That's just something I've never done. It started as a kid. I was afraid, and now I'm at the point where I'm just I don't know what I would be doing.
Hmm.
So I feel I'm almost too old to do it for the first time.
Yeah.
And then and again, I'm not the best swimmer, so I'd be a little worried about that. I can swim enough not to drown typically, but that's about it.
So what would you say is your favorite roller coaster?
My favorite coaster is Expedition Everest in Animal
Okay.
Kingdom. I love that coaster so much. When I was working at Disney, I rode that coaster, God, so many times. I maybe not 100 times, but maybe 100 times at least. I just it's so good. The design is so cool. The atmosphere. I think it almost goes with why I like horror stuff so much. Is it has a thriller element to it, even though it's not scary really. Although
Yeah.
actually as a kid I went on I forget what it's called, but the Disneyland version of Expedition Everest.
The Matterhorn?
Matterhorn, that's what it is.
Okay.
And I was 4 years old when I went on it. I went on it with my mom, and we were riding it, and the Yeti starts roaring and stuff, and little 4-year-old me was starting to get freaked out. And my mom turned, and apparently the cart behind us was empty, and I just didn't notice it because I was 4. And she was like, "Oh no, the Yeti! They ate the people behind us," and that traumatized me. I believed it, and
Oh my
4-year-old me just starts
gosh.
screaming and losing my shit, and oh no, I did it! and and I didn't ride roller coasters for like a decade after that. Actually, it took me a long time to get over that fear because my mom traumatized me for life.
Yeah.
Now I love coasters though. But yeah, its sister ride is my favorite roller coaster. So overcome your fears, kids. It's great.
Look at that. Wow. It's a really full circle.
Full
Full
circle.
circle story there.
Character growth. So I call it in
Yes.
the biz.
In the biz. We're professionals. We know
Yeah.
what we're talking
We
about.
we have a professional podcast as part of our film studio that clearly we have made.
I'll
Clearly.
have you know that all of our videos have reached double digits.
Is that accurate?
So that
The
that
third
is
one?
accurate.
Oh shit. I didn't realize Grunge had finally made it over the top.
Yeah,
Hey, there you go.
10 views.
10 it's from the view that you made it have when you check the view count. But yeah, no, I love Expedition Everest. The Yeti's awesome. I'm sad the Yeti doesn't move anymore. It's just a strobe effect nowadays.
Why doesn't it move anymore?
It just broke, and the only way for them to fix that would be to actually tear apart the mountain and basically, in a way, almost rebuild the ride from scratch. So they just did the strobe effect to make it look like it's reaching down, which is it's
Gotcha.
still cool.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's really harmful to the experience that that's the case. Like it's been like that for like at least a decade or two. So
Hmm.
they're probably not gonna fix that anytime soon, if ever. Unless they just like refurb the entire park or something. I doubt they would. But yeah, I love that ride. What about you, Seth? What's your favorite roller coaster?
Okay, so don't don't make fun of me for this, but
I always make fun of you for everything, Seth. That's
that's
not gonna
fair.
change.
My favorite roller coaster would have to be Space Mountain. Um,
It's basic coaster,
I mean, yeah, I
but
said
sure.
tame and vanilla. I mean, it is just like your classic wooden coaster, just
Not
inside.
wooden.
And not wooden.
It's like a
Um,
classic wooden coaster, except not anything like a classic wooden coaster. Well, anyways, you have basic bitch taste in coasters.
yeah. Well, I just it
Space
took
Mountain's
a
good.
it took a lot. Well, okay, so it took a lot for me to build up the courage to ever go on Space Mountain. It wasn't until high school that I actually did it. Even Splash Mountain, I used to be no, like when I was a kid, I was
What?
terrified of Splash Mountain,
That's my
even
favorite as
even
a kid.
up until high school. And then w- there was one trip where I like like with the snap of my fingers, that all changed. Like Splash Mountain became the kind of ride I was comfortable with, and probably because I by that point I'd done it so many times that I
Mhm.
just knew everything to expect, and like I obviously the drop isn't all that bad,
It's
and
really
like
not.
you get
Yeah.
a splash at the end, so like Splash Mountain went from being like one of my most detested rides to one of my favorites at Disney World, and Space Mountain, like I went on it for the first time around that same time period, and that was kind of like my gateway drug
My
to,
awakening.
yeah, I mean, kind of to roller coasters, and just kind of like, I mean, it's fun.
It's a good ride. I don't necessarily. I, it's weird the layout of the cart itself. The fact that it's a like one, two, three back to back to back, and not
Yeah,
someone next to you. That's very weird for
yeah,
coasters. Like I can't think of like any others off the top of my head that are like that. But it's interesting because like, and also the fact that like you're in the dark the entire ride. It's a weird sense of
yeah.
isolation that you're just by
It is.
yourself. It's an interesting concept. The fact that like you're basically like other than hearing screams of other people, you're on your own as you can't
Yeah,
see anything. Like I will say, Space Mountain kind of freaked me out when I first rode it because like you see the outlines of the tracks and stuff, but you can't ever like you can't gauge the distance of how
yeah.
far it actually is. Like it's
Well,
actually like way
and
above you, but you can't tell that.
there are definitely a number of points where like I've thought I'm going to hit my head on something. that ride.
Oh,
I'm sure if you held your hands up, you probably would hit
oh no,
something.
they test it to there and back. Like unless you're like 8 feet tall, you will not hit
Okay,
it, even if like your arms are all the way up. But
gotcha.
I even with that knowledge in mind, I
I
can't put my hands up. And honestly, I don't really put my hands up on coasters in general.
Me neither.
I have a paranoia that like even though like I know they're tested, especially at places like Disney and Universal, that they're tested a million different ways. Like there's no way you're gonna lose a hand if you put your hands up unless you like fucking Mr. Fantastic and your arms just stretch out like a mile long. But like I just can't do it. Like I have to hold on. Like I will do the
Yeah.
most insane coasters, but I have to like keep holding on.
Now, you know what I miss? The old test track.
I don't think I ever rode Old Test Track.
Really?
Yeah, no, I've only ridden I only ever rode Test Track while I was in Disney last year. That was the first time I
Oh,
ever ridden
okay.
Test Track.
Well, I mean, new test track is fine, and test track is obviously, I mean, it's one of the best rides at Epcot. Well, and this is a whole nother conversation, but I'm a
We should do a
huge fan.
Disney episode at some point. We should do a
Yeah,
Disney World episode for
I
sure.
I adore Epcot. Like every single ride, well, except for Frozen. I
I have
adore it.
issues with Frozen.
Uh-huh.
Maelstrom was so good. I miss Maelstrom.
I rip Maelstrom. Um,
We'll talk about it on the Disney
yeah,
topic.
exactly.
We'll
But
definitely revisit those.
test track, it's such a different concept for a roller coaster, if you even want to call it that. But like you have that like high speed bend at the end. That is kind of the excitement factor.
It's definitely a thrill
Um,
ride for sure.
yeah, but like particularly, and they keep a lot of it in the new version, because this is, I mean, the concept of test track. But with the old version, you really got a better like it really felt like you were going through all these different test
Yeah, because
sections.
that was the concept is that you were like you were a
You
test
were a
dummy.
test crash dummy, yeah.
Yeah,
And it, like I can't tell you any other coaster that's sort of like that, in and of like the thrill of it, like the excitement and the tension isn't just from the physicality, but like it really does affect your mental perception of what is going on around you.
I mean, I'd almost argue it's definitely very different, but I mean that's why I like Expedition Everest is because of that thriller element of
Yeah,
the
yeah, I can see that.
atmosphere and theming definitely makes a difference. Because I love Rock and Roller Coaster, but I would say even though like Rock and Roller Coaster is probably more physically intense because of the flips and stuff, I'd argue that Everest is more thrilling because of the theming and
Yeah.
the idea of like, oh, we're going backwards. Also, the fact that it goes backwards is amazing. But like Rock and Roller is probably my second favorite coaster, especially at Disney. Have you ridden the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train
I
roller
have.
coaster? What are your
I
thoughts
have.
on it?
Quite frankly, I don't have a lot of thoughts about it. Like I remember enjoying it, but I honestly do not remember a single thing about it. And it was
Mhm.
like in the last 5 years that I did it. I
It's okay.
just it was forgettable.
My big thing about it is it's a weird design in that like you do the thrills, you do the twists and turns, and then you just stop and go super slow for like 30 seconds, 40 seconds. It's just you lose all momentum
Hmm.
as the miners are just mining, you know, doing their little thing. And like the animatronics are cool, but like it's just you lose all that momentum and there's no real payoff. And then you suddenly start to go a little intense again, but it's not long enough to actually get that intensity back. So it just
Hmm.
loses all its momentum. I feel like it just doesn't work as a coaster. Like if they're
Yeah.
gonna have that little animatronic section, I feel like that should have been at the beginning or the end of the ride, not just randomly thrown into the middle.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is cool
I
that you can rock the carts though, like with your body
yeah.
weight.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a fun feature.
What about VR coasters? Like most of the stuff they have at Universal. Would you put
Well,
that in the same?
anything that I would call a coaster. Are you talking like the 4D effects things like Spider-Man
Well,
and Transformers? Because those are not coasters.
I'm th- I don't remember Spider-Man and Transformers. I'm thinking along the lines of like The Mummy and Gringotts Bank. Did you do either of those?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
System of
I think I've
Shadow.
done every coaster at Universal.
Okay.
Mummy, yeah. Gringotts is kind of its own thing. Like it is.
Yeah.
Like it has a track. You go a little wild. It's I'd say so. I don't think it's just the fact that the scenery is like digital. I don't think
Hmm.
makes it not a coaster. I mean, like Space Mountain doesn't have scenery. It's just darkness,
That's true.
and it's still a coaster. So like, it's the
But I
only
mean, also
hesitance for me is like how many times it stops for Gringotts
yeah.
is what
Well,
would be the thing for me.
yeah.
Because Mummy never really stops. It's just throwing shit at you constantly.
Well, and that's kind of my issue with Universal as opposed to Disney too. Is the fact that like most of the rides I've gone on Universal are so reliant on that sort of
The
like
4D stuff is definitely
yeah,
a bit much.
and particularly like half of the experience is something I'm watching on a screen,
Yeah,
whereas Disney and the effectiveness of these techniques can be debated depending on who you are, but the fact that most of the effects are done physically and are crafted through like automa- automatons or
yeah,
set design is it's something I definitely take to.
I agree. Like I love Universal, but like the Disney definitely has the one up on theming.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Honestly, I was just trying to think of stuff at Universal that even comes close. Maybe the Jurassic Park water ride.
Hmm.
Like that is pretty good theming. Like even the legit coasters like Hulk and the Roaring Rocket or whatever it's called, the one where you listen to music while you are on the ride. It's
Hmm.
like Rip Roaring Rocket or something like that. Like they don't really have any theming other than like what's on the cart. Like
Yeah.
you don't see things while you go. Like they're amazing coasters,
Whereas
but
I mean, with places like the various Six Flags, I mean, the theming is really just nominal.
yeah,
Batman or Superman could
Batman
be
has
just
nothing to
about
do with Batman. Yeah.
yeah, it could be just about anything. They
The
just
cart is
slap a
black and
label on
purple. Yeah, that's about
it.
it. I will say Batman. I love the Batman ride. I rode it like when
I
I went
do.
when I
I love
went.
that.
There was like nobody there at that side of the park for some reason. Like it was still
Yeah.
like a relatively busy day, but no one was riding it. So I just got to like ride it. And that was one of the first ones that I really rode that had twists because like for a long time I didn't do upside down coasters, but I
Hmm.
did Batman and just fell in love with it, like the thrill and the adrenaline rush. And I rode Batman like 8 times in a row. Got super dizzy because it spins you around a lot. But Batman's really good. Hulk is in Universal. Have you done Hulk?
I have not done Hulk.
Hulk is definitely one of the more thrilling ones, but it's a very smooth ride. I think you could do it because like you see all the flips and shit and how fast it goes, and you would think that it'd be super aggressive and like painful or something. But it's a very smooth ride. Like you really
Hmm.
don't feel just how fast you're going. It's honestly pretty comparable to Rock and Roller Coaster, I'd say. You've done
Gotcha.
Rock and Roller, right?
I have not done Rock and Roller.
That's what the fuck. Ride
I have
coasters.
I have not been to Hollywood Studios since I've really rode coasters. And honestly, I mean, that's why Hollywood Studios is my least favorite park because I mean, outside of Rock and Roller Coaster and Tower of Terror, and now all of the new Star Wars stuff, its selection is very few and far between. There is not a lot to do.
I used to love Hollywood Studios, but they completely changed it. They got rid
Hmm.
of most of my favorite shit from Hollywood Studios.
Yeah,
Well, we'll get into this more if we do a Disney World episode.
yeah, exactly.
Anyways, we're getting a little off topic, off track, roller coaster
Yeah,
track.
but
Ooh.
Spaceship
um,
Earth, best roller coaster in
oh
Disney.
yeah, it's so thrilling.
Um,
You mean Nemo
it's a
and Friends?
thrill. It's a thrill psychologically.
You
Makes
learn
you think
about.
about where did we come from? Where are we going?
You can smell the books burning, and it just thrills your imagination with how much knowledge we've lost.
I couldn't have put it better myself.
They actually sell candles of that smell.
Really?
Yeah, there's Spaceship Earth candles.
That's interesting.
I'm sure they're super limited. I don't know if you could still find one, but they're something that exists.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
all right. How about we
Roller
go?
coasters.
Let's go
Or-
through. What's your favorite coaster from each park you've been to? Like all theme parks.
Uh, I mean, it's been a while since I went to Cedar Point or Hershey Park.
Hmm.
I don't even remember what my favorite would be from Great Adventure. Six Flags Atlanta would be Batman.
Yeah, same.
And then Disney World, like I said, Space Mountain.
Hmm. Did you go on any coasters in Universal then?
I mean,
Because that's the reason to go to Universal,
I
honestly.
went on the Mummy one.
I
I
mean, counts. I
I mean,
guess.
I didn't go to the island, and I honestly I didn't notice very many roller coasters in the like whatever the park was that I went to.
Yeah, I think the you went to like the main one then,
Yeah,
and that one's like that one has the roaring rocket thing
yeah,
where
yeah.
you can pick your song. Like there's a list of
And
songs and they play it
as
in your
much
seat
as
as you
I
go.
would like to wait 4 hours in line for something like that.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a waiting game with coasters, unfortunately. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there are any other coasters in that side of the park. Yeah, Isles of Adventures is definitely more of the thrill ride aspect of it. Did you go on any of the other like Harry Potter coasters? There's like the dragon one or whatever
That's on the island.
down the island. So you haven't been to Island of Adventures at all then?
Right.
Okay, you should. It's worth going.
Okay.
It's honestly
Gotcha.
it's really fun to go to both and get a park hopper ticket so you can ride the Hogwarts train.
Hmm.
The Hogwarts train is so cool.
That's
Like
what I've
it's
heard.
worth a park hopper ticket just to like ride the train.
Hmm.
It's very fun, especially if you like Harry Potter at all. It's worth it. Let's see. My favorite coasters. Honestly, since I mean we both have more experience in Disney, you could probably see your favorite coaster in each Disney park, including Epcot, obviously, because Epcot only has. Well, I guess Animal Kingdom also only has the one, so I guess that doesn't really fit. Never
Yeah.
mind. All right, I'm just gonna list some of my favorite coasters in general. Then Batman is great. I really like Batman. Expedition Everest, obviously. Thunder Mountain Railroad is probably my favorite one in Magic Kingdom.
Ooh, I do like Big Thunder Mountain.
Big Thunder's really good. Like I like Space Mountain, but I prefer Thunder Mountain. I think
Yeah.
definitely like it better than Mine Train. Let's see. Rock and Roller is amazing. It's so much fun. SeaWorld surprisingly has two coasters that are pretty good. It has it's like a mantis or a manta ray themed one. That's like it's kind of like the Superman, but I felt less like I was about to die when I rode it. It was a little bit of a smoother ride. And then there's one called like the Kraken. It's just a basic normal coaster, but for some reason I just fell in love with it and there's no line, so I rode it like 30 times in a row.
Hmm.
And then last time I rode it, the harness came undone halfway through the ride. So I was like, all right, I think it's time to stop. The harness just randomly unclicked in the middle. Luckily, there wasn't like flips or anything at that point in the ride. I don't know if it had any flips actually, but it was like towards the end. But like suddenly the harness came undone. I was like, cool, I'm about to die. So yeah, I think 30 times is enough to ride that. What was your first coaster ever? Do you remember?
No.
Mine was the Barnstormer in Disneyland, the goofy.
Oh, it was probably the Barnstormer.
Dude, I like how that's almost everyone's first coaster.
Yeah.
It
I remember really enjoying it too.
it has not aged super well as an adult, but
I
I'm sure it's
mean,
still a great
I
first
have not
coaster.
ridden it in like 15 years,
Yeah,
so
I when I was at Disney, I wanted to make sure I rode like every ride, so I
hmm.
rode Barnstormer again. The seats are very uncomfortable.
Oh, I'm sure.
Uh, they're like ridged and like
Is the
ugh.
Barnstormer? I would have assumed Barnstormer went out with Toontown, or I think it was Toontown.
In World they repurposed it to like Storybook Circus, which is
Oh,
it's
okay,
basically just the Dumbo ride and Barnstormer is the
gotcha.
only rides there, and it's you know it's still like kind of the for little kids section,
Yeah,
like ease them into stuff.
I miss. Never mind. We'll get into that with a Disney
We
episode.
clearly there's interest to talk about just
Yeah.
Disney World because I mean we've both spent a lot of time there, so we'll definitely revisit Disney World. But yeah, I love coasters. For me, I love the adrenaline, but I'm too much of a nervous wreck to do anything else that gets you
Hmm.
adrenaline. So like it's the safest way to get an adrenaline rush, and like I love that because I love the thrill. Like thrill wise, I think I would love like bungee jumping and skydiving and shit like that.
Yeah.
But I'm also so paranoid. I would be like freaking out about, oh god, the bungee cord could break, or oh the parachute went open. That like I
Hmm.
feel like it would take away from the fun of it until like after I had survived. I was like, actually that was fun,
Yeah.
but also dear lord. But
I know what you mean.
coasters are definitely that it's how I appease the adrenaline junkie in me.
So I would say that I am pro roller coasters.
We need to
That's a that's
we
a
should have Six
cautious
Flags pro.
pro.
Cautious pro. You're scared of too many.
I mean, I am pro the concept
You
of a
should
roller.
definitely ride Rock and Roller Coaster.
I should. I definitely should. It's
That's a good intro to like the more intense ones.
yeah. Gotcha.
It's a good starter for the upper level. I am very pro coasters. I will ride any coaster just about that is safely maintained at least once, guaranteed. I don't know. I'll probably end up riding Superman again, especially now that I'm in Atlanta. Like if I want to get a group of people to go once theme parks are actually viable to go to again.
Did you ride? Oh, what's it called? The Titan or Gigant?
Oh,
The big one.
I know what you're talking about. It starts with a G. It's like Goliath. Is it called the Goliath?
Goliath. Yeah.
Goliath. I really like Goliath.
I've heard mixed things.
Oh, honestly, I think you'd love it, Seth, because it doesn't flip. It's about as intense as you can
Yeah.
get without flips.
Yeah.
Because it has huge drops and like you go super fast. And it's just long. It's one of the longer rides, so it lasts a little longer. I love it. I honestly think you'd like it because like it doesn't flip, but still has a good bit of thrill without being like insanely intense.
Hmm.
So, like I think you'd like it. It's
Okay.
a fun coaster.
I don't like being jostled around a lot.
It's a metal coaster, so it's pretty smooth. It's not
Okay.
wooden.
Gotcha.
That's the thing.
Gotcha.
Wooden coasters can be a little rough.
Well, I'm also talking about like coasters that intentionally
Like
jostle
Whiplash,
around.
yeah. The
Yeah.
Mummy. I
Um.
like the Mummy, but the Mummy's a
I'm
lot.
there's one like tornado themed one at
Cyclone. It's Six Flags,
Cyclone.
right?
Yeah.
I think it's a wooden one.
I think it's a mixture between wood and metal. I think I remember that it's explicitly like a mix between the two.
Twisted Cyclone. Yeah, ride it out on the all new wood and steel hybrid coaster. Oh, they upped it. I think there was an original Cyclone that was just wooden. I think the Twisted Cyclone's relatively
That
new.
would make sense.
'Cause I think what I rode was just Cyclone.
Okay.
So I don't know about that one,
Okay.
but yeah, I'm very pro coaster. I enjoy them very thoroughly. They're definitely typically my favorite rides in theme parks.
Yeah.
By far. Like they're like I love other rides too, especially Disney with like the theming and shit. But yeah, the coasters are definitely the highlights of theme parks for me. Very pro coaster. There you go. I think that's about
Well,
it.
good luck editing all that.
I mean, I don't think it's that bad. We only talked for about 30 minutes. I can cut that down. How'd you feel if I just died right now, Seth? Ugh.
Well, I'd be happy.
No, you wouldn't.
I wouldn't. I'd probably cry. Uh,
Aw. You'd cry over me, Seth?
I mean, maybe.
Aw, I'll take it. I'm dead inside, so I don't shed tears anymore.
Okay, so
Now our next topic is crying. When was the last time you cried?
It was recently.
Oh, when was the last time I cried? I think it's been over a year since I've cried. My
I
dad died.
Quarantine definitely gave me a couple of times, and not necessarily because of quarantine, but just like things that have happened in quarantine.
Yeah,
I, I've
yeah.
I've had a couple of good cries.
God, I don't know the last time I cried. It was probably around my last breakup was probably the last time I can think of. So like over a year. Yeah.
Good times.
Happy subject matter. Next topic: death.
uh,
Welcome
so
to the depressing
heaven
episode.
or hell?
Oh, purgatory. Give me a nice purgatory. That's what I'm aiming for. Nice middle. Limbo. Give me some limbo.
But no. In all seriousness, our next topic,
It's Gone
the
with the
Martian.
Wind. Oh, The Martian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gone
Wait,
with the
what was that?
Martian.
The Martian.
The Martian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing we've
Um,
planned forever. We never were going to
we the,
do another movie.
when we drew up the plan for this entire podcast, we specifically said episode 5,
Is
The
the Gone
Martian.
with the Martian? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I sneezed. The Martian.
Um.
Yeah. So yeah, I rewatched it for this. I had seen it before when it first came out, not in theaters, but I'd seen it around the same time that it came out, and I rewatched it tonight. How many times have you seen this movie, Seth?
Just twice. I saw it in theaters when it first came out, and then after the SpaceX launch, like a week or two ago, I got really back into space and wanted to rewatch it.
You got
And
back into space. Someone better get you down.
I actually purchased it because I was gonna rent it, and then I was like, you know what? I remember just well, I get into a space kick a couple of years, and so I'm like, I like this movie enough, and I can get excited enough about this movie that I'm gonna own it. But like, no, like one of the things that without fail throughout my entire life that can just like really get me excited is talking about going to Mars and like exploring Mars. That is a dream of mine. Not something that I'm actually going to do or necessarily will happen during my lifetime,
I wish
but
it would.
just
That'd be cool.
picturing colonization and terraforming of Mars.
Mhm.
I feel very confident that by the time I die, there will be people living on Mars, but it'll definitely be to a very limited capacity.
See, I don't
Uh,
know. I mean, A, I don't know how long I'm gonna live, but B, I don't know. Like, cause I mean, back when I went to space camp when I was like 10, they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna go to Mars soon," and
yeah.
that's been 13 years, and we're still at the "we're gonna go to Mars soon" with no real set plan phase.
Well, we finally are having actual concrete plans, and there's actually been like ramping up in competition in the space sector. So that gives me hope that we will have a person step foot on Mars in the next 20 years. I feel confident about that.
I hope so.
Well, I mean, yeah, knock on wood. But like the last time we were this concrete about like going to Mars was back in the 70s after we had just gone to the moon. And just before we realized that we should probably come up with some better technology before we send ourselves to Mars.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
I I have I we can get into all this once we talk a little bit more about the movie.
Uh,
But watching this movie was just kind of like a culmination of all my childhood interests in colonizing Mars and seeing, oh, here is a realistic, or at least realistic and sort of as much as a blockbuster movie can
yeah,
be, take on people going to Mars and living there, doing out the science of having a team there. And just it was so cool to watch, so cool to see people like the plant growing scenes are some of my favorite scenes,
Mhm.
because just like mankind engaging with the Martian environment, which is so inhospitable, but can be can be molded to assist our expansion outward, it's really exciting stuff.
Yeah. No, I
Um,
agree. I definitely enjoyed it. Really liked it when I first saw it, but then, like, kinda forgot about it
mhm.
for however many years it's been. At least 5, right?
Yeah.
I wanna say it was, like, freshman year of college for me,
It
it came
it
out.
was yeah, it was senior year of high school for
Okay.
me.
So it's been a few years now. Like, yeah, I definitely kinda forgot about it for a while, and then you were like, "Oh, let's talk about The Martian." I was like, "Sure." I definitely don't think I liked it as much on this watch. Like, I still had fun.
Mhm.
I think my biggest and, like, it's a good movie, don't get me wrong. I'm about to be nitpicky asshole here. I think for me, everything with Matt Damon on Mars was great.
Uh-huh.
That was all wonderful. That was definitely the highlight of the film. I think
I
for
I
me,
I would agree that those are definitely the strongest, parts.
like, where the film it doesn't ever lose me, but where I, start to lose a little bit of interest is, like, everything else when it's not on Mars with, like,
Mhm.
because like, it's a film, it's about this guy being isolated on Mars, but we're never with him, just him long enough to, like, really feel that isolation. We're always
Yeah,
seeing random dude. Now here's this random dude, and also they're all super famous actors, so you don't really
yeah.
like, and they're just everywhere. It's like, oh, there's Donald Glover. Oh, there's Sean Bean for 3 scenes for
Mhm.
some reason. It's just there's too many people in this film about isolation.
Well, yeah, I do like the scenes on Earth, and I can get really into the scenes on Earth.
It's
Um,
fun for the science part of it.
particularly, yeah, particularly with the science part of it, particularly with me being sort of a space nerd and like having a familiarity with sort of the politics and sort of engagement of different space agencies and organizations.
Mhm.
Just like the nerd in me really appreciated that. But most of all, I think what I like with the Earth scenes is that juxtaposition of that cold, inhospitable, futuristic climate and then life back on Earth. And I think they do a really good job with their sort of the way they portray future Earth, because it feels very
Was
familiar to
it
me.
future Earth? I thought it was
Yeah,
pretty
it's like
contemporary.
it's 2040s.
Was it?
Uh, it might be like a decade or two earlier or later than that, but I think
Mhm.
it's mid 2000s. It's
Okay, so
definitely in the
okay,
future.
fair enough.
Um, but exactly, it feels so familiar. Barely anything is different, but they're just slight changes, like slight advancements in
Mhm.
technology, slight changes in fashion and architecture that give you the feeling that like, oh, we're looking at something that's just a little bit different.
Okay,
And
I didn't really catch that, but I mean that's fair. I just missed it, I guess.
but I also agree that it does interfere with this feeling of isolation, and particularly something I took issue on rewatch was how early they managed to get in communication with
Yeah,
one another.
and that's the thing.
Um,
It's a
because
long movie. Like it's
I'm
almost 2.5 hours, but yet he can contact them for about 2 hours
yeah,
of that movie.
I'm see, I'm cool with them finding out that he's still alive and
Mhm.
and kind of tracking his movements, making plans on how are we going to save him. Uh, but the fact that he is able to set up communication with them so early, like it does break that feeling of isolation
Mhm.
that the beginning of the movie tries so hard to emphasize, that he is all alone millions of miles away from home.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Is like
Um,
I never like obviously he was gonna be saved at the end. No matter.
yeah,
Oh, we never give a spoiler warning. Whoopsie.
I if
He
you're
got saved.
watching, I mean,
You probably know what you're getting into. Hopefully,
yeah.
spoiler warning. He got saved. Whoopsie. Like you know going in he's gonna be saved, but like you should still feel some kind of tension, some kind of fear for this character because like he's a likable character. Like you do get even like though the focus is split between him and Earth so much, you still
Well,
do
that
find him very likable. You still relate to him. You want him to get home safely, but you never are afraid that even like when shit goes wrong,
oh,
you know they're gonna
I
find some sciencey workaround.
I disagree I disagree completely. Like, I mean, I know that because I'm a film major and I know how writers and producers play to audience expectations. But like during this most recent viewing, I was watching it with my parents, and my mother was practically having a heart attack. She believed that he was going to die and he was not going to make it back. She
Huh.
she completely bought into it, and I just I had to sit there kind of surprised because I mean,
Yeah.
like you said, he had to survive. He had to
I
make
mean,
it.
fair enough. I do
But
have to forget.
I do think they raise the stakes and kind of they do play up uncertainty as much as they can.
I guess like honestly, I think all of my complaints, quote unquote, are going to be from the lens of I've just seen so many movies
Yeah.
that I kind of I see the seams a little bit.
Mhm.
Like I mean, that's one thing is like I mean there are all these constant little like miraculous fixes constantly
Yeah.
like bing bang bang boom and
Yeah. Yeah.
and one interesting thing is like throughout the movie it feels like a biopic. It feels
Yeah.
like a like almost like a Apollo 13 kind of
It
or
does.
yeah,
It,
where it's like
it
this really
feels very
happened and like
similar.
sure like you know they rush through these quick little things but oh but that actually happened and I'm like wait a minute this is fictional no this didn't happen they didn't have to do that why did they do that
Yeah.
it's like they would have these little like suddenly Donald Glover appeared with the magic solution and like oh I guess they ran out of time so they had to
Well, I
quickly
mean,
put in this real person oh wait
you do see like Donald Glover's working on that solution for quite some time. Like I didn't catch it the first time I watched it, but from the first scene that he appears and he starts working on his idea to when he actually
I mean
presents
it's
it,
only like 3 scenes.
I mean it's at least like 30 minutes apart.
Yeah, I guess I don't know it's just uh, I think the impact of everyone's contribution
Yeah.
felt less because there were so many fucking people. And like I get like there are so many different people involved in it. Like that's a realistic aspect of it. But
Hmm.
from a storytelling perspective, it just loses the impact when there's like 50 billion people all doing this one random little thing seemingly out of nowhere. And like you lose kind of the impact of each of those things. It's like, oh, this person
I
whose name I don't remember suddenly has a magic solution. Cool. Now you. Okay, cool. Now you.
Well, like you said, I mean that so many different people contribute so much to sort of space.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's real. That aspect is realistic, and like again, I'm being nitpicky as fuck, but like I just like the thing is like I didn't care about any of the characters except Matt Damon,
Hmm.
which is like I guess the point, but like also you get you have everyone has like a snippy little one liner, and like you know they're
Yeah,
supposed to
okay.
be
The one liners are they're kind of grating, but that's an issue I have with a lot of movies, particularly blockbusters. Is that's something I that's an issue I take a lot of issue with J.J. Abrams
mhm,
movies because everything's just like a quippy
yeah.
comedy.
Like
And
one character having snippy lines as part of the personality, that's fine. But
yeah,
when every single character has a snippy little quip, or oh, Donald Glover is like, okay, what's your name? Oh, I'm the director of NASA. Okay, you're Earth. Like, it's just like,
yeah,
and you know, and then I forget his name, but the other like big head of like the department or whatever that they kept. What was his name?
Oh, yeah, I know who you're. That's Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And he he hits the girl's head with the pen to close it
yeah,
for some
yeah.
reason. It's like, why was that makes why did this need to be some weird little,
I
like, if Donald Glover was, sure, he's the eccentric, but then every single one of them is just doing these little, it's like it doesn't make sense for the characters. It's
I
just
I I definitely agree with that.
like,
Um,
I don't know. It got a little grating. It got a little annoying, and also at times it felt kind of meta, and it took me out of it. Like when the head of NASA was like talking to the jet propulsion team, and he was like 30 days or whatever it was, and he's like, "Well, we can't do it," and he's like, "This is the part where I give a speech and say," and then you're like, "Okay, well," it's like, no, just give your fucking speech. Like, genre awareness in this kind of movie, I don't
yeah,
think works.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Like,
and I think that is I think that's related to the issue we were just talking about of that sort of aesthetic of quippy
yeah. It
back
felt
and
very
forth.
formulaic. Like they knew
Yeah,
what to do a crowd pleaser movie. It's like it's
yeah.
my issue with a lot of the Marvel movies. It's like they're all fun.
I think it's that same exact issue with the Marvel movies.
Like they're all fun, but like they
Yeah,
don't. They're all very formulaic. They all, for the most part, hit the
yeah,
same
yeah.
beats. It's like they're not bad. I enjoy them still, but
Hmm.
like I wouldn't call any of them my favorite movie.
Yeah,
And like honestly, The Martian feels like a spacey Marvel flick in a lot of ways to me. Like it's still good, and like in the again the Matt Damon parts I think are what really make it stand out.
yeah,
Um, like I guess like saying like The Martian, I expect something more like Castaway, and instead I got more of
yeah,
a Marvel movie.
yeah, yeah. I will say the thing that really does it for me with The Martian is the aesthetic. It is the theme of the movie of Mars exploration and just like the the way I am definitely usually a writing and story oriented person.
Mhm.
And I think this is the one movie I can name where my usual expectations are inverted. And I am so drawn to the visuals, to the directing, to the just overall feel of the movie. Um,
That's fair. Like it's a pretty movie. Like it's not like bad
yeah.
by any means. Like I'm
And
nitpicking it, but
and obviously I was not looking at this super diligently. I'm sure somebody could come back with some examples of mistakes, but like all of the Mars scenes looked super legit.
mhm.
Like I don't know if they did it with green screen or if they actually went out into like Utah and filmed it. But I never noticed any sort of graphic errors. I never noticed any sort of it looked super believable and
Mm.
one like 100% of the time I could suspend my disbelief during those scenes.
Yeah, like
Um,
yeah, that's the thing to me, is the most believable parts of the movie were when the guy was stranded on Mars.
I mean, I believed all the Earth parts too. It's
Well,
just
like I said, I saw the movie making seams on the Earth parts so much that I'm like, yeah, this is, they're trying to make a biopic, but it's not a biopic, and oh, he's quippy, and oh, he's like, oh, I'm gonna make a speech, and you're gonna tell me you can't do it, and then I'm gonna say overtime is a hassle, and he's like, oh, overtime is a hassle. All right, let's do it. We can
you're
do it.
you're really hung up on that.
I really am. I am. That line bothered me so much. I didn't like the NASA director character. Like
Yeah,
he he wasn't meant to be completely likable, but even outside of that, I didn't like him. Like as an unlikable character, I didn't like how he was used as an unlikable character.
yeah.
And again, like most of
Um,
the characters are just so there, except for Matt Damon, that I don't even like or dislike most of them. Like they're just kind of there.
yeah.
There's just so fucking many of them.
Okay.
There's a bunch
Well,
of them. They're everywhere.
we know you don't like Modern Family.
Don't like what?
Modern Family.
I've never seen it.
I, I'm just saying because it's an ensemble cast.
Yeah.
Um,
I like very personal driven character stories. I like
Hmm.
A handful of a main cast that you can focus on. You can develop their character arcs, and you have better lines than the overtime will be a hassle. You're right. Overtime will be a hassle. All
Yeah.
right, team, let's go.
Let's see. I group this movie in with for me, even though I don't think they have any of the same, they don't have any of the same directors. I don't think they have any of the same writers or production staff. But I group this movie in with Interstellar and Gravity to be the sort of sci-fi trilogy, and Arrival too, to a certain extent, but Arrival's a different kind of
Arrival's,
movie.
yeah, yeah. I actually haven't seen Gravity, but I have seen Interstellar and Arrival.
It's fine. Um,
So that's the thing is like I think I just don't like hard sci-fi as much with like the where it's like tries to be realistic.
mhm.
Like I mean, Arrival kind of
Well,
does, but even then, like it's still aliens and shit, and like so like I
that's
like Arrival a lot more than any of these, honestly.
like all of I mean, The Martian is my favorite of those that trilogy I just described.
Hmm.
Um, but a lot of what I like about Interstellar is a lot of the same of what I like about The Martian is is just the way I want to say world building,
I can, yeah, no, I agree.
because I mean just this depiction of a future that is so familiar and so similar to ours, and yet it has that slight removal from the present.
Yeah,
Um, that is something I loved from Interstellar. Of you see somebody like a real farmer living on a real farm in the future.
hmm.
It's not some high tech future farm. It's not some space farm.
The
It's
farm.
it's a dude living in Kansas, except like 50 years in the future.
Yeah, I can see that. Like I definitely I agree. I like that element of it. Interstellar and The Martian both are just also very pretty movies. They
Yes.
like especially like
Yeah. Yeah.
Interstellar. I the water world scene with the waves is
Oh yeah.
fucking beautiful. Like that's I
Gorgeous.
think it's my favorite moment in the movie. It's the water planet scene.
Yeah.
Uh, it's so fucking pretty. And like I think that's kind of like what these kind of movies kind of chalk up for. Like to me is just that they're good, they're pretty, they're fun. I just I don't want to say they don't have substance because like the science stuff and the math stuff like apparently holds up really well for the most part. Apparently like especially the actual book it's based off of, people were praising because the math
Hmm.
is like 100% accurate apparently.
Yeah.
Um or at least as much as we can know theoretically. So like I don't want to say it doesn't have substance. It's clearly there's smart writing here. There is very smart things here. I just I guess like when I want sci-fi, I like when sci-fi kind of is more character driven and it has more of like a philosophical
Well,
approach than like
but I feel like, well, and I mean this is also obviously down to preferences, but
mhm.
I do feel like it's like comparing apples to oranges.
Oh, it is. I'm just saying I'd rather eat an orange than an apple is what I'm saying basically.
Yeah, and that's fair.
Like I'm
Um,
not trying to say either one is necessarily better, but like I would
yeah,
rather watch hell Snowpiercer than The
yeah.
Martian.
Well, and I mean, I would probably be inclined to agree with you. Like, I like those movies. I like that structure more than just a hard
Hmm.
science fiction film. But there is something about that kind of film that I can get really into and I can appreciate in like a different way
Hmm.
than I can your standard just narrative pick.
Hmm.
Um,
That's fair. I think the thing for me, I guess like just I
well, and
wanted The
it's
Martian to be
kind of,
character driven because the
yeah.
situation seems like it would be. Like again, like I was definitely expecting Castaway, where
Mhm.
like 80% of the movie is just him trying to survive, And like, because those elements are fascinating to me, like him trying to figure out, like, I have to grow these potatoes to survive. How can I solve this problem? How
Yeah.
can I? Oh fuck! I blew up the thing. Oh god, how am I gonna live? And then pretty much everything after the his greenhouse blows up, it's all Earth people solving the problems, basically, with very
Yeah.
few exceptions.
Yeah.
It goes from him surviving to them being like, oh, here's this magic solution, and like obviously it's not magic, it's science,
Yeah.
but
I
from a
I think that's
storytelling perspective,
that's a valid critique. Um, it's definitely kind of disappointing how uh, even though he is still very present in the last third of the movie,
he becomes
he
more of a
he is very
jokester, snippy
passive.
person. Yeah,
He's very passive during it.
like he goes from being snippy while doing things to just being snippy, and like that's
Yeah.
fine, but you were surviving, you were taking even like at the end where he's teaching the class, he's like, you see a problem, you solve it or you die. It's like he did for the first half of the movie, and then everyone else solved his problems for the last
Yeah.
half of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that scene so much of him on that bench on it says Earth Day 1. I'm sure
Yeah,
it's not his
he'd been,
actual. He's
yeah,
been there for a while, but just kind of that juxtaposition of the hell of space, that gritty,
mm,
unforgiving, just sort of wasteland, and then snapshot. Like I could physically feel the change from an unforgiving atmosphere to suddenly like humid earth air,
yeah.
grass, trees around you, and to have a scene that can elicit that sort of physical response where I could feel the sort of almost salvation of earth as our home.
Mhm.
I really appreciated.
Have you seen Ad Astra?
I've not.
You should add that to your list to watch next on your
Okay,
sci-fi romp.
gotcha, gotcha.
Because like I thought about Ad Astra a lot while watching this. Ad
Mhm.
Astra kind of goes a little bit more of the. It's definitely it tries to follow science a lot, but then it also is a lot more character driven. It's more focused, it's just Brad Pitt, really. Like there's a few other side characters, but it's just Brad Pitt,
Gotcha.
someone you really care about. It's interesting. I want to know your thoughts on it because
Okay.
I enjoyed it. I don't know. It's different. I I I would give it a look, give it a watch if you get the chance while you're on your space kick.
Well, and I need you to watch The Expanse because I have so much to talk about there. And that is the reason The Expanse is just a good show in general, but half of the reason why I like The Expanse is for the same reason I like The Martian of just seeing people actually going out and exploring the solar system and colonizing the solar system is so exciting to me.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I've
particularly as a political drama.
oh,
Uh,
I need to watch it. I've been meaning to for a very long time, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet. It's hard for me to
yeah,
get into new shows. Hell, I've barely been watching movies lately, but
mm,
definitely check out Ad Astra. I saw it in theaters. It was definitely. I would think it would still hold up on like a smaller screen, but like it was very visually impressive on the big screen for sure.
yeah,
That's the thing.
gotcha.
I think also like sci-fi movies. I feel like for me, especially stuff like The Martian and stuff like Ad Astra and like what's a little more on the harder sci-fi side. Like I feel like I enjoy a lot more on the big screen because like I think the visuals
Yeah,
really are what kind of capture it. Like I liked Interstellar, but I just saw it on my like 32-inch TV or whatever it is, 40-inch, and like I just imagine like if I had seen the water planet scene in like a theater,
hmm
like I mean, as much as
I
it impressed me
remember.
on TV,
hmm I remember when it first came out, one of my teachers telling us that we needed to see it in IMAX.
Hmm.
I didn't, but like the fact that that sort of medium is so fitting to that visual of hard science.
Hmm. Like I think definitely I think sci-fi films are definitely one of the big, proponents for why we still need theaters is because just like those visuals, those out of this world, literally visuals.
Yeah,
Like I feel like your 40-inch, even if you have a 60-inch TV, it's just not gonna capture that. Like when you're just in this room with this giant screen and you just see like the waves of the water world in Interstellar. I feel like it's coming towards you, like that scale, that scope. I feel like you
yeah.
just can't recreate that at home, like
Well,
and
you
unless
get
you have an entire basically a movie theater in your home, which some people do. But
you get so much more of an appreciation to the detail too with bigger screens. You can see the like how much attention to detail was put into the graphics,
mhm,
to make it seem realistic and come off as realistic to the viewer.
yeah, for sure. Like it's completely, and like I'll watch just about any movie in theaters because like I'm a big proponent of the theater experience personally.
Yeah,
But like sci-fi and fantasy films too, but sci-fi films specifically, I feel like you really, I don't even know why it's sci-fi specifically and not just like fantasy too, but like I feel like I've definitely like sci-fi just grabs you in the theater in a different way than
yeah,
it does like when you're watching it at home.
I would agree with that.
I mean, even watching the new Star Wars trilogy, which is like sci-fi fantasy. Like, I mean, I didn't like the last Star Wars movie very much, but I still had a great time just because I fucking watched it on this giant screen with all these super cool visuals. Like, I thought the story was stupid, but
Well, we don't
the
need to get into that right now.
am I hurting you, Seth?
I'm holding back my comments on your thoughts on Star Wars.
My correct thoughts. When are we gonna murder each other on Star
So
Wars?
obnoxiously false.
I'll take
Uh,
obnoxiously correct because that's accurate.
that's no.
Tune in next week for when we murder each other over Star Wars.
Oh, oh, oh,
That's gotta be
oh.
the series finale. That's when we kill our friendship. Like we can't be
Yeah.
friends anymore. Star Wars.
What other contentious topics can go with Star Wars: The Last Jedi?
What other
Um,
things do we hate each other? We already did. We did grunge relatively civilly.
yeah,
Um, Star Wars is definitely the thing we have the most differing opinions on. I think,
agreed.
or we don't respect you. Like everything else we disagree on, we like. I can see your point though. Like I think you're wrong, but like I can see where you're coming from. But Star Wars, we just
It's,
don't respect each other's opinion.
I I cannot. That is that is the thing where I cannot wrap my head around.
And I can't wrap my head around your side. It's so I like how that's the one thing we can't, like we've talked like super controversial like political stuff. We've talked
Yeah,
like all sorts of things where it's like, all right, fair enough. Like I can see where you're coming from. I can't say I agree, but I can see your viewpoints.
I can't
It's
comprehend your
fucking
opinions
Star
on
Wars.
Star
It's where we
Wars.
get the most like angry at each other. Next
Anyway,
episode, our friendship dies when we talk about The Last Jedi.
woohoo! I am obviously I am pro The Martian.
I'm also pro The Martian overall. I definitely had my qualms, but I going into it, like I said, like very
Yeah,
nitpicky. It's still a very fun movie.
yeah,
Would I have watched it if you hadn't said to watch it for the podcast? No, I don't know that outside of like another friend being like, "Hey, watch this with me," or like if a girl I'm seeing wants to watch it or something. I highly doubt I'll ever watch The Martian again. Uh, it's just like it's
well,
fun, but like I just
hey,
don't like I don't do a lot of rewatching of movies anyway outside of my favorites. So
The Martian. Maybe you'll like it. Maybe in 15 years or I mean, let's be realistic here. NASA can't get their shit together. Probably longer. When people actually land on Mars, there'll be a renewed sense of interest in Martian themed literature and cinematography, and
It's possible. Like I mean, yeah, like it's a good movie. Like
that.
it's well made. It's just
Well, and
uh,
I think that's something to speak to it is like landing on Mars is just such an object of fascination for our generation.
mhm.
Like we've heard so much about how big the moon landing was for at least for my parents, but I mean
I'd
for
say it's pretty universal, at
for
least in
boomers in
America. Yeah.
general. Yeah. But I mean that's what we've always looked forward to is like we are going for us, we are going to live to see people walking on another planet one day.
Yeah, I think like like when I was a kid, like everyone was big on space, and I feel like as we've gotten older, we've just like kind of given up on it because like we haven't seen
Well, in
any
the
advancements
last
really.
yeah, well, in the last 10 years, there's just been such a gap in space research and space technology. And not that it's not still happening,
It's not
that
visible to the
it's
public.
it's not visible. Like all of the research that's being done is very it's more research based. Like people aren't sending people to Mars. Like the biggest development in space technology that's happened in our lifetimes is probably China landing a probe on the moon. Like that is the biggest thing. Because yeah, I
Yeah,
can't think of anything else that's as notable.
yeah.
I mean, India almost did last year, and their rover crashed into the moon, which was
Oh,
very sad.
rip. Yeah, it's just we've kind of hit a stall at least for the public perception of space. So
So
like,
that's something I'm hoping for, particularly with this last launch of Americans being able to send people to the space station again using their own equipment.
mhm,
I'm hoping that will kind of contribute to this well and the Artemis program that's sending people back to the moon.
mhm,
I hope that the US government continues our funding to that and like I hope we continue doing that sort of thing because
mhm.
I mean space is something that it's something we've got to do
Yeah,
eventually and like it's something that captures the human subconscious so strongly.
yeah.
uh,
I agree. I just hope we get there. It's definitely because like I feel like our generation has just kind of given up on it,
yeah,
which is kind of sad. Because I know like I loved space as a kid, and like I love sci-fi as an adult.
well our experiences with space have also been very traumatic. I mean we had an entire planet taken away from us.
It was never a planet. It was falsely labeled.
That's fair.
They got a little wild with the label maker. Pluto is not in it, listeners. Yeah, you fucking heard me. Don't fight me. It's not a planet. Called you out, audience.
Well, I'm glad we have anti-Plutonian on the other side of the pipe.
I love Pluto. It's a very, very nice dwarf planet,
Okay.
not a planet. Now we have 2 viewers left of our 8.
Well, it was a good run. um,
I killed it just like they killed Pluto's hopes of being a planet.
yep.
All right. So
So,
pro the Martian, yeah, I gotta give you something. Mwah. To be giving you
oh,
something. Oh,
is that my thing? Philip's
that's too
kiss
surprised.
was dissatisfying and
I'm a great kisser.
overrated.
Thank you very
But
overrated.
yeah,
Whoa. Whoa, excuse you, I have good Yelp reviews on my kissing ability.
I I have poor reviews.
You have
This is
poor, you have poor reviews for being kissed? Are you not a good kisser, Seth? Guess there's only one way to find out. Mwah. See, you went for tongue too early. That's your problem. You gotta save the tongue.
Oh,
You
Philip,
start.
I get too excited.
You gotta start with just kissing. After about a minute or so of making out, then you throw in some tongue.
Uh,
Be careful not to hit clash teeth together. I've made that mistake when I was young.
but it's intimate. It's fun. It's cool.
That's my kink. My teeth bashing
If
against yours.
you were not scraping your teeth against.
Oh no! See, that's so painful too. Like I've done it. Like I have, unfortunately, it's happened. Like I'll get overexcited and just clink, and it's like well, it's over. All right, I'll leave. It's okay.
So anyway,
Don't mash teeth. That's our random
you're
discussion. Is
that's a random
kissing,
discussion. Wow. Hey.
making out.
Um,
Don't mash teeth. Be careful. I've learned from my mistakes.
I feel violated.
Good. No, not good. You should feel safe.
Hmm.
I backtracked. Oh God. I don't know what the fuck to give you.
Give me something, Philip.
I mean, technically, we could just talk about kissing. I never said it has to be videos.
Yeah. Well,
I don't think you're
hey.
happy with that. You don't
Well,
seem
I
happy.
mean, we've already started. It's happening.
Is this the random topic?
I mean, there's not much to say. I've
Uh,
kissed a couple of people, a very small amount,
You've kissed a
but
few.
a couple. Um,
You kissed me.
I mean, very, very vanilla. Very.
You don't do any wacky shit.
Don't do any wacky shit.
You ever bite the lip while making out?
Nope.
The lip bite. It can be fun if you do it right. It's very not fun if you do it wrong.
Ah, indeed. One of my exes will eventually find this podcast and be like, "Oh, he wants to talk about kissing."
Oh God. I will say,
Never forget my side kiss with my last ex.
what was that again?
The first time we went in for a kiss, like,
Oh, and you like missed, right?
yeah, and we kissed, like, I kissed her on the side of the mouth, like your grandparent would, just like.
Oh God. Yeah, I think the worst kiss I've ever had. Well, one of the girls I dated in high school, it was like kissing cardboard. Like, her lips were always super dry, like
Ooh.
super dry. And then like I would go to kiss, and she would go too, but then like she wouldn't move her lips.
Mm-hmm.
Like they would just kind of be there. So like, and it was like kissing a cardboard box. It was terrible.
Yeah.
It was not no. You gotta put some work in, man. You gotta move them lips. Mwah.
I'm
Move them lips.
I'm a big proponent of the head kiss.
Like
Uh,
forehead kiss? Or what do you
well,
mean?
forehead kiss, but just like kissing someone on the crown of the head.
It always seemed weird to me. Cause like it's not. I don't. Well,
It's
different.
a sign of warmth.
Like yeah,
And it's not necessarily it's not necessarily romantic,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it is a sign of affection. It is a sign of like of sort of familiarity, of like I care about you.
Would you kiss me on the head, Seth?
I would.
Aw,
Yeah.
thank you.
I if I mean I
Go
mean
ahead. Go ahead.
I've given friends head kisses before.
The funny sentence.
I couldn't come up with a good way to say that.
Oh God. I feel like I think I did like once, like when like I like a friend was like going through some shit and crying and stuff, and like I hugged them, and I just like instinctually did it, which is
Yeah.
weird, but like I think they were comforted, hopefully.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't know. It's a weird thing. It's a weird like I've definitely done it. Like especially with like romantic partners. Like I'll
Yeah.
like be like, come here, mwah. Like
Yeah.
kisses on the cheek are fun. Just a quick little,
Yeah.
mwah. Let's see what other making out's always fun. Well, not always. There's some people who are very bad at it. Some people like I've had girls who will like they'll do the lip bite, but they'll like fucking clamp.
Oh, that's
and
good.
and it fucking hurt. And like
I'm
it's not
sure.
sexy. Like that, like a little nibble's fine.
Hmm.
A little nom nom.
That's our show, everybody. I'm glad we did this.
I said
Glad
it
we
as
had
a
this
joke. You guys
conversation.
were like, you were like, all right, we already talked about it. I could have found some random YouTube video.
You could have, but you didn't. So
You ever been kissed on the nose, Seth?
on the what?
The nose.
I'm sure I have.
I
I
like
think
I like
my
kissing people
mother
on the
did
nose.
when I was a kid. Yeah. I mean, I've probably no. I can't say I've been kissed on the nose by a romantic partner. I may have had friends do it, which is a weird. I know that's weird,
Why are
but
friends kiss you on the nose?
I don't know.
I
I
don't knows.
I don't know.
Um, I like nose kisses. I like noses. I don't know. It's weird. That sounded really weird.
Philip,
But
stay away from my nose.
they're just cute. I don't know. Noses are cool.
Mm.
I like just boop boop.
See, I like ears. I like getting my tongue up in them.
Okay, see, the nose thing isn't really sexual so much. It's just like
I was. It was a joke, Philip.
I will say,
It was a quippy response.
girls with
I know you
pointy
don't
ears,
like those.
girls. Oh, hey, if it's part of your character, that's fine. But if everyone has quippy responses, then it's grating.
Do we not both have quippy responses?
Fuck, we're the Martian.
Oh no, we were the Martian the whole
Oh,
time.
girls with pointy ears are cute. Like the tips of the ears are pointy.
Philip's got an elf fetish.
Elves are
We all
hot, man.
knew it, but
Elves are hot. Yeah, are,
whatever
are you
you
telling
say.
me? Are you telling me you wouldn't fucking elf?
Philip, we're not having this conversation today. Shame.
It took me so long to get that sentence out too. You never answered the question.
Next week.
This is what happens when I don't have something planned.
Yeah, you see, when you're unprepared, these are the consequences.
See, it's beautiful. This is quality content.
Yes, indeed. What about okay, let's talk about let's talk about like
Smooches. What do you think about the word smooches?
I
Makes me uncomfy.
that makes me think of like old-timey kid. It makes me think of like grandparents
Yeah.
kisses.
What about a smack? Give him a smack on the lips.
I hear this noise with it.
Yeah.
Like smacking your lips.
It's like if someone was like if someone like said they gave someone a smack on the lips, I imagine it being very wet and gross.
Yeah, no.
Like a very wet kiss.
Yeah.
Slobbery.
You never want too much slobber
You
there.
can have the right amount.
Oh.
I'm always very concerned that if I have too wet of a kiss. It's a real concern, Seth.
I'd let you know, Philip.
Oh, are we gonna kiss?
Are we?
Just kidding. Unless.
Unless.
Unless. Oh God, what is this? Is the by far the weirdest moment we've had on this podcast.
Kiss Me by Sixpence None the Richer. I
don't know
forget
this
what the
song.
band's name is. Kiss me,
What about
kiss me
oh, you know what song I hate?
under the milky twilight. Kiss
Oh,
me.
that song's okay.
Okay, I think you're
Uh,
okay.
thank you. That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me.
Well, I really mean it.
Oh, thanks, buddy. I hate the song This Kiss.
Never heard of it.
This kiss, so wonderful. This kiss,
By
so
whom?
magical.
Oh,
Some random pop singer chick.
that sounds familiar, but
It played at the pool of the resort I worked at every day, and I heard it
okay.
every day, and I want to murder that singer.
Oh no.
She cursed me with that song.
Hmm.
It's I don't like it. It's
Friendly reminder that we are strict adherence to the YouTube code of conduct. um,
did I say murder? I meant kiss, and singer I meant Seth. Mwah. Bring it all back around.
you don't mean that.
Who's your favorite person you've kissed, and why is it me?
I don't know, just kind of the fireworks that flew when it happened. You know,
It's real sparks, real chemistry between us.
definitely. Maybe kind of just the taboo of
Oh,
you were in a relationship at the time and just
oh, it's true. I was, and
we
she was
were
there.
actually
She
we
saw
were
it.
actually we yeah
She encouraged it.
she did.
And
Good
the sad
time.
part is, this isn't even a bit.
I wish this was a bit.
This part isn't a bit.
Did Seth and Phillip ever actually kiss? Who's to say?
Find out next week.
This is pretty good detail to.
This is spicy. What a spicy end to the podcast. Aren't you glad I didn't have anything prepared, Seth?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Well, now I'm gonna feel bad about the thing I've prepared for next week.
Next week's topic, fucking. It's escalating. Remember that's never mind, I can't.
That's our show.
It's
I'm pro kissing.
same. Kissing's nice. It's been a minute. I haven't kissed anyone since January.
March.
Oh, look at
Yeah.
you,
Yeah, I know, right?
Playboy over here.
Mr. Casanova.
Yeah, look at you.
All right.
See, you got me beat. So, Seth, would you fucking elf?
Next week on Fruit Neighbors podcast.
What are we talking about next week?
Elves, ostensibly.
Can we talk about ramen?
Ramen.
I've had to eat a lot of ramen
sure.
lately.
Well, yeah, we'll do ramen. Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And then something you'll actually have prepared.
Yeah, exactly. Unless I forget by next week. So
that's very possible. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. Like and subscribe, and tell us in the comments. Would you fucking elf?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up. I'm breaking up with you.
No, Seth. We're gonna go on a magical cabin trip.
I know. When? Who's to say?
Oh, right now.
Wink.
Wink, wink.
Wink.
All right, bye, guys. That's enough of this. Goodbye.
Bye.